play a game. The rules are simple. All you have to do is sit here and talk to me.
Whenever we talk about facing a monster in horror video games, we think of gameplay mechanics like hiding ourselves from imminent doom, running away scared, or facing our fears head-on with whatever weapon we can find. But this scene made me think, what if there was a game where all you had to do was talk to the main bad guy? A game where you had to make the right decision or you run the risk of losing an important NPC. I began drafting an idea and even started looking around at games that came close to my initial vision. One such game was Killer Frequency. If you have not played it, I highly recommend that you do. It's a game where you play the role of a radio DJ and has to help his callers survive a serial killer. Sounds easy enough, but sometimes you will have to look around for clues to save lives and try to uncover the identity of the killer.
I'm at the sheriff's office right now.
Wait, what?
Sheriff Matthews is dead.
The gameplay is easy to pick up and play, and the 70s vibe is definitely the hook of the game. But unlike Killer Frequency, my game's antagonist was not some deranged killer, but a supernatural entity, and every decision the player makes would affect the game world. I don't want to give out much information at this time, but I wanted to create tension with a conversation between a man trying to save people before the night is out, and an entity from the other side that is looking for a good bargain. That was it. That was my killer idea, and I knew that would be a great story set in the Chronicles of Sunset Valley universe, a collection of short stories, horror stories, I have been writing in my spare time. I even made a short video on it when I was playing around with Unreal Engine Sequencer. Yeah, it's not mind-blowing, but you gotta start somewhere. And with that, I began plotting my game design. Whether it will be first or third person, will it have combat, or will it have more stealth? All these questions I had in my mind, and I began looking at different tutorials online. But then it hit me. This will be my first game, and because of some personal issues, time was not on my side. I had been looking at different developer vlogs, and one thing I took away from them was that my first project needs to be simple to create. I did not want an overly complicated project that would make me hate life itself, but rather a project that I could finish on time, be proud of as well, and be able to put out too. So instead of making a supernatural game, I decided to come up with a completely different game that uses the same idea, but it's a lot smaller in scope. How about a game where you play as a game journalist? You, as a player, are working for a very woke gaming site, where you will be writing articles that are in line with the company's core beliefs, which is diversity, equity, and inclusion. Of course, you can write based articles which will let you keep some level of respect in the gaming industry, but it can cost you your job. Yep, that's the idea. And with that, I began my first steps in game development. And the very first thing I needed to do was create a game design document. Yes, if you're going to start developing your game, then you need a good GDD. Your game design documentation, or GDD, should include all the little details about your game before you actually start developing it. Before I get into that, I want to take this opportunity and apologize. I don't know which game developer said it, but when I was watching videos on how to start developing games, I came across something called the Trinity Hook. The Trinity Hook includes 3 hooks that should attract consumers or gamers. The first one is the visual hook. How will the game look visually? Are you going for cel-shaded look or more lifelike visuals? This is where you decide that. The second one is your mechanical hook. How will the game play? What is that one feature that you will talk about when you're trying to sell your game? that one mechanical hook that separates it from other games in the genre. The third is your story hook. What kind of story are you trying to tell in the game? How will it connect to gamers? This hook is all about that. I do not know which YouTuber or game developer went through all of this, but it kinda stuck with me. And the reason I brought this up is because your GDT should include these three elements. At the end of the day, you want your game to be played by people and possibly make money out of it. Well, that's my goal at least, but at the same time, you need to make sure that your game stands out from the rest when it's on the marketplace. Also, one more thing here, you don't need to hit all three of the Trinity hooks here. There may be one area that you may struggle with. Personally, for me, it's the visual side, but that's okay. I just need to make sure that the other two hooks, the other 2 points, pull in gamers. My GDT also included a list of similar games that use the same kind of mechanics, as well as other things like what kind of font I will use, any logos, plan of approach when it comes to making the game, any mockups like concept art, screenshots, and many more points. Just Google game design document and you'll get the idea. From there on in, I began developing my game. The first thing I did, I looked on Epic Game Marketplace, also now known as Fab, for any plugins or tools that would help me create the complicated dialogue branches with ease. So I decided to use Dialog's dialogue component. It's a flexible tool that cut a lot of development time. Plus his Discord community is very helpful, so thanks Dialog. You played a very important role in the development of my game. But I wanted to see if it was indeed the right tool for me, so I created a small working prototype that would give me an idea of what I can do with it and what were its limitations. After that, I had to do some prototyping. This was actually an important stage for me because at this stage, I could create prototype levels that would give me an idea of the levels that I would create later on and how I could set up NPCs. And after that, I began creating actual levels. Epic Games have been giving away Unreal assets for like a few years now, and I've been hogging a lot of them. So I thought I should make use of some of these assets when it comes to level design. For the characters, I used metahumans. I have worked with metahumans in the past while I was working on my series, My Girlfriend from Shadow Realm, so it was obvious that I had to use them. Hey, that's my girlfriend, and no one disrespects my girlfriend, especially someone whose booty pics is worth less than a McDonald's Happy Meal or a Big Mac meal.
Big Mac meal. I'm hungry now.
Hey, so am I, but I'm trying to have a moment here.
So sorry.
I created my player, made him playable, created some NPCs, and that was it. Then came the moment of truth. As part of my GDD, I stated that I would create a working prototype for the game that would be at least 10 minutes long. Yes, there will be some areas that would be unfinished, but it needs to be close to the finished product. That meant more work that needed to be done. I created a main menu and tried to include as many bells and whistles as possible. I also created a settings menu and included some options for screen resolutions and other stuff. Man, I also created a pause menu because why not? There are some bugs and glitches here and there, and the character movement is not ideal, but I am putting my heart and soul in the story that allows you to craft your own narrative experience. Speaking of which, take a look at this. This is in Excel. This is just one day in the game and how the story branches when you speak to different characters. So yeah, I may have bitten off more than I can chew, but at least the end result should be satisfying. This should be my starting point for advertising the game, maybe create some videos and upload them, get the hype train going. So I began working on my 10-minute prototype demo. I created the levels, blueprints, added some details like footprint sounds and animations to NPCs, and there I am at the moment. The game story will play out over a course of a few days, So at this demo stage, I only wanted to concentrate on day 1. Speaking of which, here are a few things that I've not yet added, but they will be in the final game. Voiceover dialogues, facial animations, some mini games that you can play if you interact with certain consoles or PCs, and a couple of other stuff here and there. With that, I think the video can come to a close. Let me know what you all think in the comment section below. Subscribe if you want to stay up to date. Once again, thank you for checking out the video. Hope you have a great day. Peace out, angels, and stay awesome.